Nobody talks about this kind of intelligence in school. It doesn't show up on IQ tests. It won't get you into a top university. But it is real. It is measurable. And the people who have it often spend their entire lives being told they're too sensitive, too intense, or too much, without ever realizing that what they carry is not a flaw. It's a form of intelligence, the kind that develops through adversity. Psychologists call it traumatic intelligence, the sharpened cognitive and emotional capacity that develops when your nervous system was forced to adapt early, to survive unpredictability, to read rooms, to feel everything, to find solutions where most people would freeze. If you've ever wondered why you see things other people miss, feel things other people shrug off, or think in ways other people can't follow, this video is for you. Here are 10 signs you have traumatic intelligence. And by the end, you'll understand why this isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to understand. Sign 1. You read people faster than they read themselves. Within minutes of meeting someone, you know things about them they haven't said out loud. You sense the insecurity underneath their confidence, the loneliness underneath their humor, the anger underneath their calm. You didn't analyze this consciously. It arrived, and you're almost always right, which is its own kind of burden, because you can see what people are hiding, but you can never say how you know. This isn't magic. This is a nervous system that was trained early in life to scan for emotional information at high speed. Because at some point, reading the room wasn't optional. It was protection. Sign 2. You think in layers. Most people hear a sentence and take it at face value. You hear the same sentence and immediately process what was said, what wasn't said, why it was said that way, and what it might mean 3 conversations from now. You think in implications, in subtexts, in the space between words. And this makes you extraordinarily perceptive, but it also makes simple conversations exhausting because your brain is doing 5 times the work. And here's what most people don't realize. This kind of perception doesn't just help you understand people, it also isolates you from them. Sign 3. You know when something is wrong before anyone admits it. There's tension in the room. Everyone's acting normal, but you feel it. A shift in atmosphere, a tightness in the air, something underneath the surface of what's being performed. And then, hours or days later, it comes out. There was a fight. Something happened. Someone was hiding something, and you knew you always know. This is one of the most disorienting parts of high sensitivity intelligence, because it means you are constantly aware of realities that other people are still pretending don't exist. Sign 4. You are extraordinarily good in crises. When things fall apart, when everyone else freezes or panics, you get calm, focused, clear. You know exactly what to do. You become the person everyone turns to. And afterward, when the crisis is over, you fall apart quietly, alone, in a way nobody sees. Because the calm was not peace. It was a familiar state. Your nervous system knows crisis well. It was trained in it, and it performs there because that's where it learned to function. But this is where it gets complicated, because this intelligence doesn't just sharpen your mind, it rewires your body. Sign 5. You carry other people's pain as if it were your own. Someone tells you something hard, and you don't just feel sympathy. You feel it with them, in your body. You absorb the weight of what they're carrying. You leave the conversation tired, in a way that has nothing to do with the clock. This is called hyperempathy, a nervous system so attuned to emotional signals that it cannot remain separate from them. You don't just understand people's pain, you hold it, and nobody holds yours. Sign 6. You have an unusual relationship with silence. You notice what people don't say more than what they do. You can sit in silence with someone and feel the entire emotional content of that silence, whether it's safe or loaded, comfortable or avoidant, peaceful or suppressed. And in your own life, silence is never truly empty. Your mind fills it immediately, processing everything that hasn't been resolved, everything that hasn't been said, everything that might still go wrong. And this is the part that confuses people. You might have struggled in places where smart people succeed, but that was never the full picture. Sign 7. You struggled in school, but excel in real life. Traditional intelligence gets measured in still rooms, on paper, under predictable conditions. Emotional intelligence doesn't perform well there. It was built for a completely different environment, dynamic, unpredictable, emotionally complex. So, you may have been told you were unfocused, unmotivated, or simply not smart. But put you in a real situation that requires reading people, navigating complexity, or solving problems with no textbook answer, and you are exceptional. Or because that is the environment your intelligence was actually built for. Sign 8. You have always felt older than your age. Even as a child, you felt it. A weight, an awareness, a sense that you understood things you weren't supposed to understand yet. You watched adults with a clarity that made you feel separate from your peers. You grew up fast, not because you wanted to, but because something required it of you. And now, as an adult, there's sometimes a strange grief about it, a mourning for the lightness you never quite had, for the childhood that was replaced with awareness too soon. And because you learned to survive this way, you also learned not to trust safety when it appears. Sign 9. You distrust happiness. When things are going well, part of you stays alert, waiting, because your history taught you that good things are fragile, that peace gets interrupted, that the moment you relax is often the moment something shifts. And so, even in genuinely good moments, you can't fully settle into them. There's a part of you standing at the window, watching for what comes next. This isn't pessimism. This is a nervous system that was never given consistent evidence that safety lasts. Sign 10. You understand people who hurt you. This is the deepest sign, and the most painful one. When someone disappoints or hurts you emotionally, you don't just feel the wound. You understand the wound that caused them to give it. You see the fear underneath their cruelty, the childhood underneath their behavior, the hurt person operating behind the hurtful one. And that understanding makes it nearly impossible to stay angry, to protect yourself, to hold people accountable, because you are always too busy understanding them to maintain healthy boundaries. Here's what nobody tells people with traumatic intelligence. You paid for this. Every skill you developed, the emotional perception, the crisis calm, the deep empathy, the layered thinking, you developed it through challenging early experiences that shaped your capacity for understanding. You earned this understanding in rooms where you should have been protected, in silences where you should have been spoken to, in moments where you had to become wise before you were ready. And that matters. Not to explain away your pain, but because the intelligence is real, and the price was real, and both things can be true at the same time. The goal now is not to undo what you know. You cannot unknow it. The goal is to stop deploying it exclusively in service of other people's comfort and begin directing it toward your own life, your own needs. It's your own healing, your own story. Because the rarest form of smart deserves to finally be used on the person who earned it most. That person is you. If you recognize yourself in more than 3 of these signs, subscribe to UNFELT. Comment below. Which sign hit you hardest? Just the number. 1 through 10. I will read every single one. You didn't ask for this intelligence, but now that you have it, it's time to understand it. I'll see you in the next video.